Hello and welcome to Sleepsmyth, your peaceful place to unwind, dream and drift gently into sleep. Before we start our story tonight, let me help you settle in with a simple, calming breath like a gentle lullaby for your body and mind. So, find a cozy spot, maybe snuggle under your blanket, and softly close your eyes. Now, breathing quietly through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath softly for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now, slowly exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, letting all the tension melt away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again. Nice and easy. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One last time, just like a soft whisper. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feel your body getting lighter, your mind quiet, as if you're being tucked gently into a calm, warm bed. Thank you for sharing this moment with Sleepsmyth. Now, relax completely and let the story carry you into a peaceful, restful sleep. Let's begin.
In the hush of night, where shadows gather and silence drapes the world, there exists a cabinet unlike any other. Sealed beneath lock and key, its dark wood polished by centuries of care, edges carved with whispers of forgotten hands. Every drawer hums with anticipation, every hinge sighs beneath the weight of secrets long kept. Tonight, the lock gives way, and the cabinet opens slowly. A breath escapes the shadows, revealing treasures that have journeyed through the hands of kings, queens, and conquerors. Drawers lined with velvet cradle the unimaginable. Pearls that have drifted across oceans, carrying whispers of queens and lovers. Gems that have witnessed empires rise and crumble. Diamonds whose velvet blue depths hold the hush of history itself. The La Peregrina, a pearl adrift across oceans, from Panama to Spanish queens, Napoleon's brother, and Elizabeth Taylor. Its beauty entwined with romance, whispers of love, and the memory of tides and distant lands. The Koh-i-Noor radiant and ancient, a jewel that has seen empires clash and crowns change hands, carrying the quiet memory of ambition, conquest, and power. The Hope Diamond, deep as midnight, enigmatic, almost sentient, a gem that has witnessed fortune and misfortune, drama and desire, mystery and quiet wonder. Its velvet blue depths hold stories that shimmer between fact and legend. These jewels are more than treasures. They are keepers of memory, vessels of quiet magic. Every facet glimmers with lives touched, ambitions tested, loves whispered, and histories folded into shadow and light. Every curve hums with centuries, every shimmer folds the hush of distant seas, the gleam of candlelit courts, and the pulse of empires long gone. Draw nearer. Let the cabinet breathe softly around you. Step closer to the quiet shimmer of velvet drawers, where the La Peregrina, the Koh-i-Noor, and the Hope Diamond await. Their secrets shimmer faintly, ready to be remembered. And as the cabinet exhales into shadow and light, we drift gently into the stories of crown jewels, legendary gems and shadows, stepping through the luminous memories, marvels, and whispered legends of the world's most extraordinary gems. La Peregrina Pearl, the Wanderer, a pilgrim jewel, traveling from the seas of Panama to queens and movie stars, carrying whispers of romance, memory, and distant tides. Born of the sea, long before human hands would ever touch it, La Peregrina rested in the warm, undulating waters off the coast of Panama. It lay hidden in a bed of oysters, cradled by the currents that swirled like silk beneath the sun-dappled waves. The pearl grew slowly, layer upon layer, each one forming a luminous memory of the ocean's rhythm, the gentle sway of coral gardens, and the quiet shimmer of moonlight filtering through the water. It was a jewel not of stone, but of patience, of time and tide, of the slow breath of the sea itself. Legends say that the first glimpse of La Peregrina was like seeing the moon reflected upon a still lagoon. Its surface was smooth and luminous, pale as dawn yet carrying within it the soft glow of deep water, as if the ocean had gathered the sky and folded it gently into its heart. The pearl seemed to hum softly, a quiet resonance that echoed the distant cries of seabirds, the whisper of waves on sand, and the slow, deliberate pulse of the tides. To touch it was to feel the weight of centuries compressed into a single perfect curve, a memory of time distilled into light and texture. The currents themselves seemed to recognize the pearl's uniqueness, nudging it gently through hidden channels, past sunlit reefs and shadowed coves, as if guiding it toward the world of human wonder that awaited. It gathered stories along the way, the sigh of waves upon distant shores, the shimmer of fish scales in shifting sunlight, the hush of ocean depths where silence reigned. These were not stories of humans, yet they were stories nonetheless, the whispered poetry of the natural world. The pearl absorbed them all, layer upon luminous layer, so that even before it emerged from the sea, it carried the memory of a world both intimate and infinite. When it was finally discovered, carried from its watery cradle into human hands, La Peregrina already seemed to possess a quiet awareness. Sailors and fishermen marveled at its soft radiance, sensing an elegance that transcended mere beauty. Its glow suggested not ownership, but partnership, that it belonged as much to the sea as it now would belong to those who recognized its extraordinary presence. The pearl's journey had begun, not as a treasure to conquer, but as a traveler destined to witness centuries of human admiration, passion, and longing, carrying with it the hush of the tides, the shimmer of sunlight on water, and the gentle memory of an ocean that never forgot. The Pearl in Royal Courts. Once drawn from the sea, La Peregrina began a journey that would carry it far beyond the shores of Panama, across oceans and continents, into the glittering courts of Europe. Its surface gleamed softly under the filtered light of sailing ships, reflecting the swaying masts, the slow undulation of waves, and the hush of wind through rigging like a whispered lullaby. Even aboard ship, the Pearl seemed to carry the memory of its birthplace, the gentle pull of currents, the shimmer of fish scales, and the quiet breath of distant tides, as though the ocean itself followed along on this new voyage. Upon arrival in Spain, the Pearl was received with awe, a luminous marvel that drew whispers of admiration from courtiers and nobles alike. La Peregrina seemed to hold its own dignity, a quiet command that transcended its modest size. The jewel rested upon velvet cushions, its soft luster reflecting torchlight and sunbeams alike, casting delicate liquid-like reflections across tapestries, gilded walls, and painted ceilings. Each facet of its surface held the memory of a sea that had rocked it gently for decades, a luminous echo of waves and tides folded delicately into its essence. It became part of the treasures of Spanish queens, carried in intricate necklaces and pendants, a jewel whose elegance was as much about story as it was about form. Courtiers spoke in hushed tones of the Pearl's remarkable symmetry, its moonlit glow, and the sense that it seemed to listen. Some claimed it whispered faintly in the quiet of candlelit chambers, a soft hum of ocean memory, recalling the sigh of tides and the hush of underwater gardens. It was not merely an adornment, but a talisman of memory, romance, and quiet enchantment, holding within it the stories of distant seas, even as it glimmered beside the finest jewels of Europe. Legends grew around La Peregrina as it adorned queens of Spain. It was said that the Pearl had an uncanny ability to draw the eye, to reflect the character and emotions of those nearby, as if it were not simply a jewel, but a mirror of soul and circumstance. It seemed to shimmer more brightly in moments of joy, more deeply in moments of contemplation, always carrying the echo of the ocean's rhythm beneath its serene surface. Even in quiet corridors of palaces, when courtiers moved softly past, the Pearl's presence lingered, a gentle reminder that beauty could speak in silence, and memory could travel as far as water and light would carry it. Thus, La Peregrina's story began to unfold beyond its birth in the ocean, tracing a path across continents and centuries, leaving behind faint echoes of distant tides, whispered songs of the sea, and the quiet shimmer of a jewel that would forever wander between worlds, carrying with it the hush of waves and the soft, enduring glow of memory. A traveler of crowns. La Peregrina's journey through human hands was as fluid and graceful as the tides from which it was born. After centuries in Spanish courts, the Pearl traveled further, crossing oceans and borders, carried by monarchs, diplomats, and courtiers, each step folding new layers of human memory into its luminous heart. Its soft glow seemed to pulse gently with the rhythm of each palace it entered, absorbing the quiet murmurs of chandeliers swinging, the rustle of silks, and the distant echo of laughter or whispered counsel. Even amidst the grandeur of marble halls and gilded ceilings, the Pearl remained subtle yet commanding, a quiet observer of human ambition and beauty. Legends speak of the Pearl's ability to reflect the soul of its surroundings. When draped upon queens' necks, it shimmered with the serenity of gentle seas, evoking calm and reverence even amidst the clamor of ceremonial life. In the courts of Europe, it was treasured not simply for its perfect shape or lustrous sheen, but for the quiet enchantment it carried, a trace of distant oceans folded delicately into each luminous layer. Courtiers whispered that it seemed to remember every shore it had ever touched, every wave that had cradled it in the deep, and that this memory lent it a wisdom beyond mere adornment. Traveling from Spain to France, La Peregrina became entwined with the lives of those who sought both beauty and prestige. It was a jewel that demanded attention without imposing, reflecting candlelight like moonlight on still water, drawing the eye to its gentle curves and flawless surface. In the soft hush of evening, when palace corridors were empty and the moonlight filtered through high windows, the pearl seemed to breathe, shimmering with quiet pulses that mirrored the distant ebb and flow of tides it had known before the touch of human hands. It was said that those who gazed too long into its glow could feel the whisper of centuries, the gentle cadence of waves that had shaped it, and the faint echo of distant lands. La Peregrina became a talisman of elegance, romance, and memory, traveling not just through geography, but through the passage of time itself. Its journey was slow, deliberate, and ever graceful, like the tides it had known, carrying with it a sense of continuity, of beauty, and of soft, enduring wonder. Even as new courts claimed the pearl, and new hands adorned it with finery, the jewel remained patient, luminous, and alive with quiet memory. Its glow was never harsh, never demanding, but persistent, soft as a lullaby, as though it had absorbed the voice of the sea itself, whispering through generations, through continents, and through the silent majesty of history. The pearl's story was one of gentle wandering, of luminous observation, and of the subtle, enduring poetry of the ocean folded into a single perfect jewel. Romance and reverie. As La Peregrina traveled through the courts of Europe, it became more than a jewel. It became a symbol of romance, of whispered glances and the soft stirrings of admiration. Its luminescent surface seemed to capture the tender glow of candlelight in palace chambers, the flicker of torches along marble corridors, and the shimmer of moonlight filtering through high windows. Courtiers and monarchs alike marveled at its elegance, sensing that the pearl carried with it not only beauty, but memory, of distant tides, of sun-dappled seas, and of centuries of quiet observation. Legends say that the pearl seemed to respond to emotion, as if it had absorbed the poetry of the ocean into its very being. In moments of celebration, its luster deepened, reflecting joy and the hushed laughter of those nearby. In moments of quiet contemplation, it shimmered softly, folding into its glow the memory of distant shores and gentle waves. Those who wore La Peregrina felt an almost imperceptible presence, a companion of quiet wonder, a talisman that reminded them of the sweep of time and the beauty of patience. The pearl was renowned not only for its flawless shape and lustrous glow, but for the soft, almost dreamlike aura that surrounded it. In the courts of Spanish and French royalty, it was passed along from necklace to pendant, each new arrangement illuminating different facets of its elegance. It seemed to adjust to its surroundings, capturing light in a way that made it appear alive, a jewel attuned to history itself, reflecting both grandeur and the quiet intimacy of those rare moments when the world paused to notice beauty. Stories grew around the pearl like gentle waves upon a shore. It was said that La Peregrina inspired devotion, admiration, and even longing, subtly weaving a thread of enchantment wherever it went. To where it was to feel the pull of distant oceans, the echo of tides, and the hush of centuries. Its memory of the sea and of every hand that had held it made it not merely an ornament, but a keeper of quiet stories, a luminous witness to the unfolding tapestry of human lives. Even as it adorned queens and princesses, the pearl retained the calm of its ocean origin. It did not demand attention, yet none could ignore it. It did not speak, yet whispers of memory seemed to emanate from its surface. Every glimmer seemed to carry a gentle cadence, a lullaby of waves and wind, of sunlit shores and twilight tides. La Peregrina became not only a jewel of exquisite beauty, but a vessel of reverie, an artifact of memory, and a soft, enduring symbol of romance. And so the pearl continued its journey, floating through the currents of history as though guided by the sea itself, luminous and patient, carrying within its heart the memory of oceans and palaces, of whispered admiration, and of the quiet, dreamlike enchantment that makes legends eternal. From palaces to silver screens. As centuries passed, La Peregrina moved from the grandeur of European palaces to new worlds of fascination, eventually finding itself in the hands of those whose lives blended history with legend. Each passage was gentle, like a tide rolling from one shore to the next, carrying with it echoes of distant seas and whispered memories of earlier centuries. Even as it left the ornate chambers of queens and noblewomen, the pearl remained luminous, preserving the quiet pulse of tides and the shimmer of sunlight on ocean waves. The pearl's journey eventually led it across the Atlantic, arriving in a land of bright lights, cinema, and glamour. Here, La Peregrina found a new kind of stage, yet its essence remained unchanged. It reflected spotlights like the sun glinting upon calm water, shimmering against fabrics of silk and velvet, carrying with it the hush of oceans and the whispers of European courts. Those who held it felt the weight of history, yet also the thrill of being part of a living legend, as though the pearl recognized both memory and new stories forming in its luminous depths. Legends say that even amidst modern splendor, the pearl retained its dreamlike aura. Its glow seemed to respond to emotion, softening in moments of tenderness and brightening with admiration or celebration. It became entwined with romance again, adorning women whose beauty and charisma reflected the gentle elegance and storied past of the jewel. La Peregrina's presence seemed to heighten the magic of these moments, lending an air of timeless grace to parties, cameras, and quiet private evenings alike. The pearl, though now far from the seas of Panama, never forgot its origins. Its lustrous surface carried the gentle memory of waves, the shimmer of light on water, and the hush of deep ocean currents. Each new owner added a subtle layer to its story, a soft brushstroke of human memory upon the luminous canvas of its being. In Hollywood, it became not just a jewel of display, but a talisman of continuity, a quiet observer of glamour and admiration, a living echo of centuries of wonder and reverence. Even in its most modern settings, the pearl seemed to hum with subtle rhythm, a lullaby of tides and time. It shimmered gently in photographs, catching light in ways that felt almost impossible, as though the ocean itself had been folded into each layer. La Peregrina was no longer merely a jewel, but a traveling witness, carrying the quiet poetry of centuries across oceans, palaces, and silver screens. It remained luminous, patient, and alive with memory, a reminder that beauty endures, that memory lingers, and that the quiet enchantment of the sea can travel wherever it is cherished. And so the Pearl's story continued, a journey of soft radiance, whispered memory, and gentle romance, carrying within its heart the hush of oceans and the quiet wonder of history itself. Jewel for Elizabeth. Among the many hands that had held La Peregrina, none seemed to bring out its quiet, luminous soul as profoundly as those of Elizabeth Taylor. When the pearl graced her neck, it was as though centuries of ocean tides, European courts, and whispered histories converged in a single moment of radiant elegance. The jewel's soft glow seemed to echo the warmth of her presence, reflecting the sparkle of candlelight in private rooms, the brilliance of flashbulbs in public halls, and the gentle hush of admiration that followed her everywhere. The story goes that the pearl responded to her like a living companion. In quiet moments, it shimmered with the soft memory of its birthplace, as if recalling the undulating waves of Panama's waters and the moonlight that had once danced upon them. In moments of celebration, its lustrous surface radiated like dawn breaking over distant seas, catching the gaze of all who paused to admire its gentle brilliance. To wear La Peregrina was to step into history itself, to feel the pulse of centuries beneath the smooth, perfect surface of a jewel born of patience, tides, and quiet wonder. Legends whispered that the pearl carried with it a sense of reverent calm. It did not boast or demand attention, but its very presence infused rooms with a soft, luminous grace. In photographs, it shimmered as if alive, reflecting both Elizabeth Taylor's charisma and the deep, enduring memory of oceans, palaces, and centuries of human admiration. Courtiers, collectors, and admirers alike remarked upon its uncanny aura, sensing that it held a story far larger than any single owner. Its beauty was timeless, yet its essence felt intimately connected to every hand, gaze, and breath that had touched it. Even in the midst of modern splendor, La Peregrina retained its gentle, dreamlike aura. Its luminous surface seemed to carry a soft rhythm, as though breathing in unison with the heartbeat of the one who wore it. The pearl's history was palpable, a faint, luminous echo of distant tides, of royal palaces, of lovers' whispered confidences. Every glimmer contained the hush of centuries, and those who lingered near it felt the slow, serene passage of time condensed into a single perfect curve. And so, La Peregrina continued to wander through human history, luminous, patient, and alive with quiet memory. It carried within it not only beauty but the soft pulse of romance, the hush of oceans, and the enduring glow of legend. In Elizabeth Taylor, it found a living echo of its luminous past, a companion for reflection, admiration, and wonder, a jewel that bridged centuries and continents, and a talisman whose quiet magic could still be felt by those who paused long enough to truly see. Her timeless romance. La Peregrina's journey through centuries had not dimmed its quiet, luminous allure. Instead, each passage, each hand that held it, each palace, ship, or private chamber it graced, seemed to layer memory upon memory, creating a jewel alive with whispers of romance, reverie, and distant tides. Its soft glow reflected not only light but centuries of admiration, longing, and human fascination, a dreamlike echo of all it had witnessed. Legends say that the pearl carries a subtle consciousness, not in a manner that frightens, but in a way that gently draws the observer into reflection. It seemed to hum softly with the rhythm of the ocean from which it was born, recalling the sway of waves, the shimmer of sunlight on water, the hush of coral gardens beneath a gentle current. Those who lingered near it felt a quiet sense of continuity, as if past and present existed simultaneously in the gentle curve of its luminous surface. Even in the hands of those far removed from its ocean origins, La Peregrina retained its connection to time and tides. It shimmered in sunlight and candlelight alike, reflecting the soft sigh of centuries, the hush of distant palaces, and the quiet wonder of eyes that paused long enough to see. The pearl was more than an ornament. It was a vessel for memory, a soft archive of romance, and a luminous reminder that beauty carries with it the gentle weight of history. Travelers, collectors, and admirers alike whispered of its ethereal presence. They described the sensation of gazing upon it as stepping into a dream, a space where centuries of human admiration and oceanic memory folded together in a gentle glow. The pearl's aura was subtle, persistent, and hypnotic, drawing attention without demanding it, creating a space of quiet reflection where time seemed to slow, and one could almost hear the hush of waves echoing through centuries. And so La Peregrina endures, a wandering jewel, luminous and patient, carrying with it the memory of oceans, palaces, ceremonies, and human hearts touched by its beauty. Its journey is a gentle story of romance, history, and wonder, a dreamlike thread weaving together continents, centuries, and lives. Every glimmer holds the hush of tides and the quiet, enduring glow of a legend that will never fade, a jewel whose memory stretches beyond ownership and into the luminous realm of myth itself. The Eternal Pearl. Now, resting in the quiet glow of history, La Peregrina continues to shimmer as a jewel that is both ephemeral and eternal. Its luminescence carries the memory of oceans, distant shores, palaces, and hearts that have held it with reverence across centuries. The soft curve of its surface reflects light in ways that feel almost alive, a gentle pulse that seems to echo the rhythm of tides, the whisper of waves, and the hush of centuries long past. Legends speak of the pearl's enduring consciousness, a quiet, gentle awareness that carries all it has witnessed. The sway of Spanish courts, the candlelit grandeur of French salons, the hushed awe of Elizabeth Taylor's gaze, the silent reflections of admirers across continents, all are recorded in its luminous depths. To look upon it is to peer into a dreamlike mosaic of time, where past and present fold together in a soft shimmer, and the hush of distant tides becomes audible to those who linger in quiet observation. Even now, La Peregrina seems to carry a subtle pulse, a rhythm not of vanity, but of memory and reverie. Its glow invites contemplation, a soft meditation on beauty, patience, and the quiet poetry of enduring wonder. Every flicker of light along its surface conjures the shimmer of moonlit waves, the glint of sun upon distant waters, and the soft sigh of centuries carried gently forward. It is a jewel of romance, history, and quiet magic, a luminous vessel that folds the vast sweep of human and natural memory into a single perfect, enduring form. The pearl's journey, though long and storied, continues in a space beyond mere ownership. It is a traveler of time, a companion of memory, a keeper of whispers. Even in stillness, it seems to hum softly, as if the ocean itself had been crystallized into its luminous heart, and every observer who gazes upon it becomes momentarily entwined with that vast, dreamlike history. Its beauty is timeless, and its story, though rooted in history, lives perpetually in the soft glimmer that calls forth reverie and quiet wonder. And so, La Peregrina endures as a jewel of gentle mystery and luminous memory. A pearl born of the sea, carried through centuries of human admiration and love, touched by queens, embraced by legends, and now resting quietly as an eternal witness to the poetry of history. Its shimmer is a lullaby, soft and enduring, a gentle invitation to dream, to remember, and to drift, just for a moment, alongside the hush of distant tides and the quiet, luminous glow of a legend that will never fade. Koh-i-Noor Diamond, the Mountain of Light, a jewel that has passed through empires like a witness, carrying centuries of memory and whispered secrets. Origins in the mist. In the earliest haze of history, long before kingdoms rose and fell upon the earth, the Koh-i-Noor lay hidden in the shadowed mountains of India, cradled within the folds of ancient rocks that glimmered faintly beneath the morning mist. Its surface, though uncut and raw, caught the first light of dawn and scattered it in pale, trembling sparks, as if the stone itself exhaled the breath of centuries to come. Legends speak of it as a fragment of the sun, torn from its own golden throne and tumbled down the slopes where rivers whispered against moss-laden stones. The diamond was not merely a gem, it was memory made visible, carrying in its crystalline depths the pulse of the land itself. It felt the wind that swept over the mountains, the rains that drummed upon hidden caves, the tremors that shivered through the earth. The stone grew luminous with the passage of ages, drawing the attention of wandering tribes and rulers who sensed, almost instinctively, that it contained more than beauty. Some spoke of its glint as a voice that murmured to those who dared to linger too long beside it, a soft hum of warning and promise that no crown could hold without consequence. In those misted valleys, the Koh-i-Noor first encountered the hands of human curiosity. A local chieftain, drawn by tales whispered around firelit circles, discovered the gem nestled among jagged cliffs, and though he could not have known the breadth of its destiny, he felt its quiet gravity. It seemed alive, as if it had been waiting, patient and eternal. And when he lifted it, the air itself seemed to pause, listening to the quiet beginning of the diamond's long journey through the corridors of power and legend. From that moment, the stone became a silent witness to all who would claim it, and it was said that its brilliance carried both blessing and shadow. Though the chieftain held it with reverence, the Koh-i-Noor already began to gather the stories of empires yet to rise. It absorbed the whispers of the wind, the sighs of the mountains, the songs of the rivers, all stored in the glimmering lattice of its heart. And as dawn always followed night, so too did the diamond's journey begin, weaving itself inexorably into the tapestry of human history, a treasure that would be coveted, feared, and endlessly remembered. Emperors and shadows. As centuries unfurled like a vast tapestry, the Koh-i-Noor passed from hand to hand, each touch leaving a subtle imprint upon its ancient memory. It became more than a gem. It became a silent witness to the shifting tides of empire, a repository of ambitions, triumphs, and the quiet sorrow of fleeting power. Kings and conquerors, sensing its almost sentient brilliance, claimed it as their own, believing that to hold the diamond was to command fate itself. Yet the stone seemed to move with a will of its own, appearing in the courts of rulers far from its mountains, as if it drifted upon an invisible current of destiny. Legends tell of the diamond in the treasuries of the Delhi sultans, resting beneath vaulted ceilings where the light barely reached, yet catching glimmers in ways that seemed impossible, as if the gem held a private dawn within its depths. It observed the pageantry of crowns and silken robes, the whispered intrigues of ministers, the quiet laments of those who feared its beauty and the fate it carried. They say that the Koh-i-Noor knew every secret glance, every silent betrayal, every hushed promise that passed beneath the chandeliers. The jewel shimmered with the memory of each, storing the essence of human desire, ambition, and longing like an invisible river flowing within its heart. When the diamond was taken by the Mughals, it became entwined with stories of conquest and devotion alike. It crossed continents, traversed armies, and rested in jeweled cases lined with velvet, its facets catching the firelight and scattering it like fragments of a distant sun. Even the most powerful emperors could not claim full dominion over it, for the Koh-i-Noor seemed to resist ownership, responding only to the touch of those who could meet its quiet intensity without greed or fear. Some whispered that the diamond could sense character, that it shimmered brighter when met with reverence and dimmed when faced with arrogance or cruelty. And so the Koh-i-Noor journeyed, carrying within it the echoes of palaces and battlefields, the fragrance of perfumed gardens and the dust of desert winds. It remained a lodestar of mystery, a silent witness to human striving, reminding all who glimpsed its light that beauty carries memory, and memory carries weight. By the time it reached the courts of Persia, the diamond's legend had grown, entwined with the poetry of kings and the murmured warnings of sages. It was said that to hold the Koh-i-Noor was to touch history itself, to feel the pulse of centuries within a single luminous stone. The Diamond of the Sikh Empire. In the northern plains of India, where rivers gleamed like liquid silver beneath the sun, the Koh-i-Noor found its place in the treasury of the Sikh Empire. It rested amidst gold and gems, yet none could rival the quiet, hypnotic light of the diamond. The court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh regarded it not merely as a jewel, but as a talisman, a witness to power and prosperity. It shimmered subtly under torchlight, reflecting the patterns of carved ivory and painted silk, as if it memorized every brushstroke of art and every note of the courtly music that echoed through its holes. Legends claim that those who touched the Koh-i-Noor within this palace felt a curious stillness, as if the gem absorbed their thoughts and intentions, leaving behind only the residue of awe. Even in its brilliance, it demanded respect, and in the hands of those who were too bold or too ambitious, it seemed to cast a shadow upon fortune, a gentle warning whispered in facets of light and shadow. Its memory, ancient and unbroken, recorded the triumphs of the empire, the soft laughter of gardens in bloom, and the quiet meditation of princes who sought wisdom within its glow. The diamond's journey was punctuated by stories that blurred the line between fact and fable. Some whispered that it brought favor to those who revered it, yet misfortune to rulers who coveted it in arrogance. It had been a silent witness to sultans' conquests, to the rise and fall of dynasties, and now, in the hands of the Sikh kings, it became entwined with their legend, a silent companion to their victories and their losses. The gem seemed almost to breathe in the palace air, reflecting the golden rays of dawn and the soft flicker of candlelight, carrying the memory of every step along marble floors, every rustle of silk, every quiet sigh beneath domed ceilings. When the British East India Company advanced upon the Punjab, the Koh-i-Noor was taken as part of the spoils, leaving behind its home of centuries. Even in transit, the gem shimmered with stories of the empire it had observed, whispering its silent recollections to those who cared to see, who could look beyond mere brilliance and perceive the weight of memory within its crystalline heart. In the journey from palace to palace, it remained luminous and patient, a keeper of history, carrying within its facets the light of distant mountains, the shadow of ancient battles, and the gentle echo of every hand that had ever held it in reverence. And so the Koh-i-Noor drifted onward, crossing oceans and lands, a talisman of legend and a jewel that carried its myths like a breath that never faded. It was more than stone, more than brilliance. It was memory made visible, a keeper of whispers, a silent chronicler of the glories and sorrows of kings. Its story was only beginning to unfold beyond the borders of its homeland, promising new chapters in lands that had yet to glimpse its quiet, enduring light. Arrival in the courts of Britain. Across the seas, carried within ornate chests and velvet-lined boxes, the Koh-i-Noor reached the shores of England, its brilliance undimmed by the long voyage. It arrived under the gaze of a curious and cautious court, where the air smelled of polished wood, candle wax, and the faint hint of distant storms rolling in from the North Sea. The diamond, though small in size compared to the treasures surrounding it, dominated every gaze, as if the gem held its own gravity, drawing the attention and quiet reverence of all who stood near. In the hands of Queen Victoria, the Koh-i-Noor became more than a jewel. It became a symbol of power, a reminder of distant lands, and a repository of centuries of stories whispered in the shadows of palace corridors. It lay upon velvet cushions beneath soft lamplight, catching glimmers like tiny suns trapped in crystal, reflecting the gentle curves of the crown and the delicate patterns of the surrounding jewelry. The courtiers spoke in hushed tones of its past, of empires it had witnessed, of kings and queens who had held it and vanished from history. And though no curse was loudly proclaimed, the diamond carried a quiet, almost imperceptible weight, a sense of destiny lingering in its facets. Legends whispered that the Koh-i-Noor responded to human ambition, its light brightening with reverence and dimming with greed. It reflected not only the physical world but the intentions of those who approached it, as if it carried the memory of every hand that had ever brushed against its polished surface. In the quiet of the Queen's chambers, the diamond shimmered like a fragment of dawn, holding the pulse of mountains, the sigh of rivers, the distant echo of deserts. It was a treasure and a witness, a silent guardian of stories that could never fully be spoken aloud. Visitors to the court marveled at it, unable to look away, feeling a strange hush descend upon them as they glimpsed its brilliance. Even in sunlight, the Koh-i-Noor seemed to hold a private glow, a heartbeat within its crystalline lattice, a faint echo of the lands it had journeyed through. The diamond's memory stretched back through centuries, through palaces and battlefields, through candlelit halls and misted mountains, carrying with it the quiet, patient accumulation of history. And so it rested, both gem and storyteller, a jewel that held not just light, but the weight of human dreams and ambitions. The Koh-i-Noor's presence reminded all who gazed upon it that beauty and memory are intertwined, that power is fleeting, and that some treasures are more than objects. They are witnesses, silent and enduring, to the passage of time. Within its facets lay centuries of whispered histories, waiting for ears willing to listen and eyes willing to see, a jewel of quiet, mesmerizing wonder. Whispers of memory. Even as it gleamed within the crown jewels of Britain, the Koh-i-Noor carried with it a presence beyond mere brilliance. It seemed to hold a quiet consciousness, a repository of centuries of human hope, pride, and longing. Those who gazed upon it felt a subtle stirring, as though the gem remembered each hand that had held it, each footstep that had passed near it, each whispered promise made in its presence. Its light shimmered like liquid starlight, a soft glow that pulsed with history and secret memory. Legends spread slowly, softly, like incense drifting through palace halls. They spoke not of curses in the clanging, fearful sense, but of the diamond's awareness of those who coveted it too greedily. It was said that the Koh-i-Noor could sense intention, that it responded to respect with brilliance, and dimmed gently in the presence of arrogance or pride. In candlelit rooms, its facets reflected dancing shadows that seemed to hold quiet stories within them, the reflections of empires, wars, and gardens long vanished from the earth. It was a jewel that listened, remembered, and held stillness as carefully as it held light. The diamond's aura carried the memory of distant lands, the misty mountains of India, the sun-drenched plains of Persia, the opulent courts of the Sikh Empire, folding them into the subtle glimmer of every facet. Its brilliance was a slow, quiet conversation between past and present, a reminder that beauty was never merely decoration, but a vessel for history itself. Those who lingered near it felt time soften, the rush of centuries condensing into a moment of serene awe, as if the gem's glow carried a secret lullaby of memory and wonder. Travelers, poets, and scholars who glimpsed the Koh-i-Noor whispered of its almost sentient quality. They spoke of the warmth in its light, a pulse that hinted at stories untold. Some claimed to see faint shadows of distant mountains within its depths, or the shimmer of desert winds crossing silent lands. The diamond seemed to murmur softly, inviting one to lean closer, to perceive its memory not as fact or legend, but as a fluid tapestry of images and echoes. It was both distant and intimate, a bridge between the faraway past and the present moment, carrying a sense of awe that no words could fully capture. In quiet moments, the Koh-i-Noor seemed almost alive, a gentle sentinel preserving the whispers of rulers, travelers, and dreamers alike. Its brilliance was not merely reflected light, but a refracted song of time, holding in each gleaming facet the pulse of centuries, the breath of mountains, the sigh of rivers, and the echo of civilizations long vanished. The diamond's quiet memory reminded all who looked upon it that some treasures are more than possessions. They are witnesses, archivists of human history, keeping alive the light of wonder, the hush of reflection, and the soft, enduring glow of myth itself. A jewel in ceremony. Within the halls of Westminster and beneath the vaulted ceilings of royal chambers, the Koh-i-Noor took on a new form of life. It rested upon the crown, anointed by ceremony, reflecting torchlight and candlelight alike in gentle shimmering waves. Each glint seemed to breathe with the echoes of past coronations, the whispered prayers of monarchs, and the hush of courtiers who understood without words that this was no ordinary gem. Its brilliance carried the weight of memory, folding centuries into a single luminous moment. The crown itself, heavy with gold and other jewels, seemed to bend slightly to accommodate the diamond, as if recognizing its quiet supremacy. When laid upon the heads of kings and queens, the Koh-i-Noor captured not only the light but also the reverence, the expectation, the solemnity of ritual. In its facets, reflections of towering cathedral ceilings shimmered, merging with the distant sparkle of candlelight, creating a luminous tapestry that felt almost otherworldly. Each glimmer was a reminder that the jewel was both object and observer, watching silently as the crown passed from hand to hand, generation to generation. Legends say that the diamond's presence transformed the air around it. Courtiers felt a soft hush descend upon them, a quiet awe that seemed to thrum in time with the slow, deliberate steps of royalty. The Koh-i-Noor's glow was like a memory made manifest, recalling distant lands and forgotten courts, carrying within it the scent of perfumed gardens, the murmur of distant rivers, and the hush of mountains shrouded in mist. It was as if the diamond had gathered the essence of every palace it had ever known, folding each one into its crystalline heart, so that even in a new land, its memory remained deep and alive. During coronations, the jewel seemed to hold a gentle pulse. Light danced in its facets as if keeping time with history itself, reflecting the gleam of gold and the deep saturated reds and blues of ceremonial robes. It whispered softly to those who looked too long, a quiet hum of continuity, reminding all who gazed upon it that beauty and history were intertwined. The Koh-i-Noor was no longer merely a treasure to behold. It was a storyteller in stone, a guardian of awe, and a luminous witness to the solemnity of human ambition and reverence. And in the stillness between ceremonies, when the halls emptied and torches dimmed, the diamond seemed to exhale quietly. It held the memory of every crown it had touched, every hand that had raised it, every murmur of admiration and respect. In the quiet glow of lamplight, the Koh-i-Noor shimmered as if breathing slowly, a jewel alive with centuries of observation, a crystalline heart keeping vigil over the rituals and dreams of those who sought to command the weight of history. Allure of time. Even as centuries passed, the Koh-i-Noor remained a jewel beyond mere possession, its light carrying the soft resonance of empires and lands that had long faded into memory. It seemed to hum quietly, a slow, steady pulse that spoke not of danger or curse, but of time itself. Those who gazed upon it felt the weight of centuries settle gently upon their senses, a hush that invited contemplation, reverence, and quiet wonder. Its facets reflected not only the physical world but the echo of every palace hall, every mountain path, every riverbank it had ever known. Legends lingered like a gentle mist, suggesting that the diamond carried the memory of all who had touched it. It remembered the hands of kings and queens, of emperors and sultans, of distant travelers who had glimpsed its brilliance from afar. Each imprint of human ambition, each quiet breath of awe, was preserved within the lattice of its crystalline heart. And yet, rather than a burden, this memory gave it a luminous depth, an almost sentient presence that shimmered softly under candlelight, evoking the quiet majesty of a timeless storyteller. The Koh-i-Noor's allure was not in its size or fire alone, but in the sense that it had observed the passage of time itself. Its light contained whispers of distant deserts, fog-laden mountains, and sunlit gardens. It had seen the rise and fall of dynasties, the quiet decay of palaces, and the gentle bloom of new reigns. The diamond's presence created a space where past and present seemed to fold together, where history became tactile, almost dreamlike, as if one could trace the path of centuries along its polished surfaces. Some whispered that the jewel's brilliance responded to the inner state of those who approached it. Reverence deepened its glow, distraction dulled it, as though the diamond itself was a silent companion, reminding humans that the act of truly seeing was a form of respect. Its facets shimmered with an unspoken understanding, carrying the essence of all that had been, a quiet glow that spoke of beauty, endurance, and the gentle power of memory. In every gleam, the Koh-i-Noor held a fragment of the world it had traversed, preserving the delicate intersection of wonder, ambition, and reverent awe. And so the Koh-i-Noor continues, a silent observer and witness, a jewel that has drifted through continents, courts, and centuries. Its story is never finished, for it carries within it a pulse of history that continues to shimmer, quietly inviting all who see it to pause, to breathe, to remember. In its light, one glimpses not only a gem, but the slow, enduring song of time itself, a lullaby of memory and majesty that hums softly to those who dare to listen. An eternal light. Now resting quietly within the crown jewels, the Koh-i-Noor shines as a jewel both eternal and ever-changing. Its brilliance does not merely reflect light, it refracts history, scattering whispers of empires, gardens, mountains, and seas across every facet. In its glow, one can almost see the soft haze of distant lands, the golden dawns over Indian mountains, the gentle murmur of rivers long forgotten, and the quiet footsteps of those who walked palace halls centuries ago. It carries all of these as memories, not burdened by them, but illuminated by them, a living chronicle in crystalline form. To look upon the Koh-i-Noor is to peer into a mirror of human wonder. It does not demand attention, nor does it seek to frighten. Instead, it invites quiet reverence, a soft, lingering awe that unfurls slowly, like the opening of a secret garden at dawn. Its facets seem to shimmer with their own breath, reflecting candlelight with the warmth of stories told in hushed voices, the music of long-vanished courts, and the sighs of distant mountains. Even in stillness, it feels alive, a keeper of time, a silent archivist of dreams and ambitions that stretch beyond memory. Legends continue to follow it, as gentle as a whisper carried on the wind. Some say it remembers all who have held it. Some say it carries the quiet weight of empires past. Others claim it hums with a soft, timeless energy that cannot be extinguished. And perhaps all of these are true, for the Koh-i-Noor has never merely been a jewel. It is a witness, a luminous memory, a talisman of beauty that transcends mortal bounds. Its light flows like a slow river, reflecting both the glories and quiet melancholy of centuries, and offering to all who gaze upon it a meditation on the impermanence of power and the enduring pulse of wonder. As night falls and the palace quiets, the diamond seems to breathe softly with the rhythm of eternity. Its facets catch the flicker of candlelight, scattering it in delicate rainbows across velvet and gold. It rests, patient and luminous, a jewel of memory, of stories, of whispers too subtle to speak aloud. And so the Koh-i-Noor remains, not only as a treasure of kings and queens, but as a gem that holds within it the light of centuries, the hush of distant lands, and the quiet, enduring glow of myth itself. To gaze upon it is to step into the slow, dreamlike flow of history, to feel the gentle pull of memory, and to drift, for just a moment, alongside the soft, eternal light of a diamond that has witnessed the world. Hope Diamond, the French blue, a velvet blue gem whose depths hold centuries of mystery, memory, and whispered tales of misfortune and wonder. Night's first spark, long before it graced crowns or drew the gaze of kings, the Hope Diamond was born deep within the earth, where darkness and pressure coalesced to form its velvet blue depths. In the silent heart of ancient rock, it absorbed the slow heartbeat of the planet, the faint warmth of molten stone, and the subtle hum of subterranean rivers moving unseen. Its color was like twilight pressed into crystal, a soft, deep shimmer that seemed to hold the last sigh of the sun and the first whisper of night. Legends say that even before human eyes beheld it, the diamond carried memory. It remembered the tremor of mountains, the slow shifting of continents, the faint pulse of life above and below the surface. Its facets were yet to be cut, but the gem already held a quiet awareness, a luminous patience that seemed to anticipate centuries of observation, admiration, and intrigue. The world above might have been unaware, yet beneath the earth, the diamond hummed softly, as if in quiet meditation on the vast stretches of time it had already witnessed. When miners first uncovered the stone in the lush, sun-drenched hills of India, its brilliance seemed otherworldly. Sunlight caught its crystalline lattice and scattered it like liquid sapphire across the walls of the cavern. The diamond seemed to exhale with the movement of air, and those who saw it described a subtle sensation, as though the jewel itself had acknowledged their presence, measuring intention and character with a silent, patient gaze. It was not merely a gem, but a repository of the earth's memory, carrying the slow, quiet pulse of the soil, the hum of water running unseen through rock, and the faint, lingering breath of time itself. In those earliest moments of human contact, the Hope Diamond already began its journey through legend and myth. Some whispered that it held a voice, not spoken but perceived in glimmers and shimmers of light, reflecting both beauty and warning. The gem was deep blue as twilight, soft yet penetrating, inviting contemplation and awe. Even the faintest touch of sunlight seemed to awaken it, drawing shadows into its crystalline depths, like secrets folded into a luminous heart. And so began the story of the Hope Diamond, a jewel that would pass through empires, adorn royalty, and gather tales of fortune, misfortune, and memory. It would not merely be held, but observed, revered, and whispered about, a gem whose presence seemed to stretch beyond human measure, quietly recording the beauty, ambition, and quiet mysteries of every age it touched. Its journey was just beginning, and already the world sensed that it was no ordinary jewel, but a keeper of dreams, shadows, and the soft, eternal light of legend. The Diamond of Kings. Once unearthed, the Hope Diamond passed into the hands of Indian royalty, where it became more than a jewel. It became a witness to the rise and fall of empires, a silent observer of the grandeur and ambition of kings. Its deep velvet blue shimmer reflected the warm light of palace lamps, the soft glow of torches along marble corridors, and the filtered sun through intricately carved windows. Each facet seemed to hum with memory, capturing the patterns of courtly life, the hushed murmurs of ministers, the rustle of silks, and the subtle fragrance of perfumed gardens. Legends say that the diamond seemed to carry the essence of those who held it. It reflected ambition and power, patience and reverence, and even whispered warnings to those whose desire exceeded their wisdom. In the quiet of the treasury, under vaults that had heard centuries of human striving, the gem seemed to glow with a light all its own, as if aware that it had seen far more than any mortal could comprehend. The soft, deep shimmer of its blue depths contained echoes of ceremonial drums, of laughter and whispers, of victories celebrated and rivals subdued. The jewel's journey through Indian courts was marked by awe and reverence. Each ruler who touched it sensed that the diamond was more than decoration. It was memory itself, a keeper of quiet histories and subtle truths. The velvet blue facet seemed to capture not only light but intention, glowing gently in the presence of honor and dimming softly when greed or cruelty passed too near. Courtiers and jewelers alike whispered of its sentience, claiming that the stone could sense character, that it remembered all who dared to possess it. As the Mughal Empire flourished, the diamond was set into ornaments and necklaces, its brilliance both admired and feared. It reflected the soft luminescence of silk banners, the polished sheen of ivory inlays, and the flicker of countless oil lamps. In its quiet way, it recorded the passage of dynasties, the triumphs and silences of rulers, and the whispers of intrigue that drifted through shadowed halls. Even in its physical stillness, the Hope Diamond seemed alive with memory, a subtle pulse echoing the heartbeat of a world far larger than itself. The legends of its influence began to grow, subtle at first, whispered among palace walls. Some claimed that the gem brought fortune to those who revered it, yet gently admonished those who claimed it with arrogance. It shimmered like liquid twilight, carrying the hush of distant lands, the quiet majesty of mountains, and the soft cadence of rivers and seas far away. Each owner became part of its story, each touch another layer in a tapestry of beauty, ambition, and quiet, enduring wonder. And so the Hope Diamond continued its journey, serene yet watchful, a jewel that observed without interference, recording the slow unfolding of history, and carrying in its luminous depths the soft, eternal pulse of legend and memory. Its story had begun, but it was only the first of countless centuries that would witness its quiet, radiant presence. Across continents. From the palaces of India, the Hope Diamond began a journey that would carry it across deserts, mountains, and oceans, each passage folding new layers of memory into its velvet blue depths. Carried through Persia and later into European courts, it traveled like a silent whisper, luminous and patient, observing the world with the calm dignity of centuries. Its facets reflected sunlight glinting off marble floors, the flicker of torches along gilded corridors, and the shadowed arches of distant fortresses, each reflection a faint echo of its long storied past. Legends speak of the diamond's awareness during this voyage. Even amid the bustle of caravans, the clatter of horses' hooves, and the creaking of ship timbers, it seemed to absorb the rhythm of movement, the hush of night skies, the golden glow of deserts under the sun, and the hush of distant rivers flowing through ancient lands. The jewel's color, a deep, almost ethereal blue, seemed to capture twilight in its crystalline heart, folding in both memory and quiet contemplation, as though it had absorbed the pulse of the world itself. In the courts of Europe, the diamond became an object of fascination and admiration. Set into necklaces and crowns, it glimmered like a fragment of the night sky, reflecting candlelight and sunlight alike. Courtiers whispered of its beauty and mystery, sensing that it was more than a jewel. It was a repository of history, a witness to the slow unfolding of empires and the delicate rhythms of human ambition. Its presence seemed to hush rooms and still hearts, inviting reflection upon centuries, lands, and lives that had come before. The legends of its influence multiplied as it passed through noble hands. Some claimed it brought fortune to those who respected its quiet majesty, while others whispered of misfortune befalling the arrogant or unworthy. Yet the diamond itself remained serene, luminous with the gentle memory of mountains, rivers, oceans, and palaces, carrying each new story like a layer of delicate, unspoken history within its crystalline depths. Even amid the splendor of European ceremonies, its aura remained subtle, dreamlike, and mesmerizing, a soft pulse of color and light that seemed to hum with the rhythm of centuries. And so the Hope Diamond drifted onward, a traveler of time as much as of space, luminous and watchful. Its blue depths recorded the quiet poetry of history, the shimmer of distant horizons, and the hush of human reverence. It became a jewel that was never simply possessed, but observed, remembered, and revered, a silent storyteller whispering the soft, enduring magic of memory and wonder to all who beheld it. In the hands of kings. By the time the Hope Diamond reached the courts of France, it had already gathered centuries of memory, its deep velvet blue facets carrying whispers of distant mountains, flowing rivers, and the hush of oceans long past. Set into crowns and necklaces, it reflected the glow of candlelight along gilded walls, the filtered sun through high windows, and the shimmer of ceremonial silks. Its presence seemed to still the air, folding the bustle of courtly life into a quiet reverie, as if history itself had paused to admire the jewel's serene brilliance. Legends tell that the diamond could sense the hearts of those who approached it. It shimmered with subtle intensity in the presence of reverence, dimmed gently when met with arrogance, and seemed to glow most softly in the quietude of contemplation. Courtiers and jewelers alike whispered that it remembered each hand that held it, each gaze that lingered too long, each word spoken in its proximity. Its blue depths seemed to hold the pulse of human ambition, the echo of whispered confidences, and the delicate sighs of courts that rose and fell across centuries. Within French palaces, the Hope Diamond became part of ceremonial life. It adorned queens and princesses, resting upon velvet cushions or woven into necklaces of intricate gold filigree. In the hush of evening, its facets reflected the soft flicker of lamps, the glint of polished floors, and the quiet motion of shadows along the walls. Every shimmer seemed to carry a story, a coronation celebrated, a secret past, a sigh of longing or triumph. Its luminous presence transformed every room into a tapestry of memory and subtle magic, a space where the past and present intertwined with gentle, dreamlike grace. Even as political tides shifted and empires rose and fell, the diamond's aura remained undisturbed. It preserved within its crystalline heart the quiet rhythms of courts, the delicate beauty of ceremonial rituals, and the subtle poetry of human ambition. In its calm, luminous glow, one could almost hear the pulse of centuries, the hush of distant lands, and the soft whisper of memory traveling across continents. To gaze upon the Hope Diamond was to enter a liminal space where time slowed, where history and myth mingled, and where the jewel itself seemed a patient, sentient witness to the enduring beauty of the world. And so the Hope Diamond continued its journey, luminous and serene, a silent observer of kings and queens, of splendor and intrigue, a jewel that carried with it the deep, velvety echo of centuries. Its blue depths were more than color. They were memory, dream, and quiet magic, a testament to the enduring pulse of history and the soft, mesmerizing wonder that has followed it through every age and across every land. Shadows and passage. As centuries unfolded, the Hope Diamond witnessed the quiet rise and tumultuous fall of empires. Its velvet blue depths reflected not only light but the soft shadows of history, the hush of palace halls emptied by revolution, and the delicate flicker of candlelight in abandoned chambers. Legends say that even in the midst of upheaval, the diamond retained its serene, luminous presence, absorbing the energy of those around it, yet remaining untouched by the chaos it observed. During the French Revolution, when gilded halls echoed with footsteps of both fear and resolve, the jewel moved quietly from hand to hand, from palace to private treasury, as if guided by an invisible tide of memory and patience. It shimmered with a deep, somber light that mirrored the twilight sky, reflecting the silent pulse of human ambition, loss, and hope. Each facet seemed to fold in the echoes of whispered fears, hurried glances, and the weight of history pressing against the present moment. Legends grew around its journey. Some claimed it brought misfortune to those who held it recklessly, while others whispered of its power to preserve dignity, honor, and quiet grace. Yet the diamond itself remained unaltered, serene in its brilliance, carrying the memories of every court, every palace, every hand that had ever touched it. Its blue depths captured not only color, but the essence of time itself, the sighs of rulers, the hush of loyal attendants, the distant murmur of rivers and forests far away. Even in private collections, removed from crowns and ceremonies, the Hope Diamond radiated an almost sentient beauty. Its surface shimmered like liquid night, reflecting the faint glow of lamps and the delicate sheen of polished wood. Those who gazed upon it felt a subtle pull, a quiet reverence, as if the diamond invited contemplation of history, ambition, and the soft poetry of memory itself. It was a jewel that had outlasted empires, wars, and revolutions, carrying within its crystalline heart a slow, enduring pulse that mirrored the passage of centuries and the hush of distant tides. And so the Hope Diamond traveled through history with grace, luminous and patient, a silent witness to triumphs and tragedies, fortunes and misfortunes. Its deep blue shimmer became a symbol not merely of wealth or power, but of quiet, enduring memory, a luminous, sentient echo of the world it had observed, a jewel that reflected the poetry of history and the gentle, dreamlike wonder of time itself. Carried by tides and time. After centuries in European courts, the Hope Diamond began a new journey, crossing oceans and continents to arrive in England, where it shimmered quietly in private collections. Its deep velvet blue facets seemed to carry the pulse of the seas it crossed, the hush of midnight skies, and the echo of centuries of palace halls, ceremonies, and whispered confidences. Even as it rested in display cases, the jewel radiated a subtle presence, folding the memory of lands and generations into its luminous heart. Legends say that the diamond seemed to respond to the rhythm of its surroundings. In quiet galleries, it shimmered softly, reflecting the filtered light of windows and the delicate shadows of ornate frames. Its glow was never harsh. It was a calm, patient brilliance that invited reverence and contemplation, carrying with it the hush of distant lands, the soft cadence of flowing rivers, and the gentle sigh of ancient forests. The jewel's color, deep as twilight, seemed to hold the space of centuries, a dreamlike repository of memory and quiet wonder. Eventually, the Hope Diamond traveled further, crossing to America, where it became part of private collections and public exhibitions. Even far from crowns and palaces, its aura remained undiminished. Its facets captured the flicker of lamplight, the glint of polished glass, and the gentle murmur of visitors passing by, folding each experience into the jewel's quiet archive. To gaze upon it was to glimpse centuries compressed into crystalline form, to feel the pulse of history and the hush of memory contained in a single perfect stone. Legends grew richer still, whispering of its influence on those who owned it, not as a curse, but as a reminder of the fragile beauty of life, ambition, and legacy. Its blue depths reflected human hope and desire, sorrow and joy, triumph and quiet contemplation, all captured and refracted in an eternal velvet light. Even in modern times, it continued to mesmerize, inviting observers into a dreamlike reverie where the past and present mingled, and where time itself seemed to slow under its serene gaze. And so the Hope Diamond endured, luminous and patient, carrying with it the echoes of empires, oceans, and centuries of quiet wonder. A jewel of memory, beauty, and subtle majesty, it remained a sentinel of history and a whispering reminder of the soft, enduring magic of the world. Its deep blue shimmer continues to beckon, an eternal, dreamlike presence, perfect for quiet reflection and gentle reverie. A gem of modern wonder. In the modern era, the Hope Diamond became a jewel known not only for its color and size, but for the quiet, mythic aura that seemed to surround it. Exhibited in glass cases, it shimmered like liquid twilight, capturing the attention of visitors and historians alike. Its deep velvet blue facets reflected the filtered sunlight from museum windows, the soft glow of lamps in exhibition halls, and the subtle flicker of candlelight in more private viewings. It was a jewel that seemed to breathe with memory, carrying the weight of centuries while inviting those who looked upon it to drift into reflection and quiet wonder. Legends say that the diamond retained an awareness, subtle and dreamlike, a sense that it observed and remembered without judgment. Its light seemed to pulse softly in resonance with the environment, deepening in moments of admiration, shimmering with gentle brilliance when met with reverence. Those who lingered near it could almost hear a faint echo, a lullaby of time and tides, of palaces and oceans, of kings and queens, and of countless hands that had passed the jewel along through history. Each facet held a fragment of story, a whisper of centuries compressed into crystalline form. Even in the bustle of modern life, the Hope Diamond radiated serenity. Its luminous presence was a quiet anchor in the chaos, a jewel whose beauty invited reflection rather than demand. Museum goers often found themselves captivated by more than its color and size. They felt the pulse of history, the hush of distant lands, the quiet poetry of human ambition, and the subtle reminder that memory and beauty can endure through centuries. The diamond was both observer and storyteller, a soft, eternal witness to the sweep of time and the dreamlike continuum of human wonder. Legends continue to flourish, tales of fortune, misfortune, mystery, and reverie weaving themselves into the diamond's story. Its velvet blue depths seem to hold not only light but the essence of ages, a dreamlike presence that bridges past and present. The jewel's magic is not in power or threat, but in its ability to invite reflection, admiration, and quiet contemplation, a serene companion for those willing to linger in its luminous presence. And so the Hope Diamond endures, a jewel of memory, wonder, and quiet majesty. Luminous and patient, it carries the rhythm of centuries, the hush of oceans, and the subtle poetry of human history. A dreamlike artifact of beauty and legend, it remains a quiet sentinel, inviting all who gaze upon it to drift into reflection, reverie, and gentle wonder. Eternal blue. Now resting in the quiet reverence of history, the Hope Diamond continues to shimmer as a jewel both ancient and timeless. Its velvet blue facets carry within them the soft pulse of oceans, the hush of distant mountains, and the echo of centuries of human wonder. Candlelight, sunlight, and moonlight alike play upon its surface, refracting subtle rainbows that seem almost alive, shimmering with the memory of every hand, gaze, and palace it has graced. Legends whisper that the diamond remembers, not with malice or judgment, but with serene awareness. It holds the quiet poetry of empires and revolutions, of grand ceremonies and hushed confidences, of human joy, ambition, and contemplation. Its deep color mirrors the twilight sky and the infinite stretch of the ocean, folding the vast sweep of history into a single luminous heartbeat. Those who linger near it feel the gentle pull of centuries, a soft invitation to drift into reflection, reverie, and quiet wonder. Even in its stillness, the jewel hums softly with the rhythm of time. Its glow is patient and gentle, inviting admiration without demanding it, carrying the hush of distant shores, the cadence of palace halls, and the quiet sigh of ages past. The Hope Diamond is more than a gem. It is memory crystallized, a luminous repository of human and natural history, a dreamlike artifact that bridges continents, centuries, and generations. Its legend endures in the hushed awe of those who behold it. Some see beauty, others see history, and some perceive a faint whisper of memory shimmering through its facets. Yet for all, the diamond radiates a serene and gentle majesty, a reminder of the enduring wonder of the world and the subtle poetry of time itself. It is a jewel that invites meditation, reflection, and the quiet drifting of thought, perfect for the slow, soft cadence of night. And so the Hope Diamond rests, luminous and eternal, carrying the deep velvet blue glow of oceans, the hush of centuries, and the soft magic of legend. Its story is endless, a dreamlike journey through history, memory, and wonder. To gaze upon it is to step into a timeless space where past and present intertwine, where light and shadow dance in quiet harmony, and where the gentle, enduring pulse of a legendary jewel carries all who look upon it into reflection, reverie, and the soft embrace of wonder itself.